Okay, MegaWhale team, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. In today's video, we are taking a look at the recent breakdown on Bitcoin and whether or not we are going to see a continuation lower. What are the key levels we are paying attention to for reversals, and how steep can this drop actually become? We'll also be taking a look at historical performance as well as talking about expectations moving into the month of October. Before we do get into it, smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos of Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical, and the structural information. No hype, no BS, no emotion, pure raw TA. If that is the kind of content you were interested in, join us on Telegram. It is the first link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop with cryptocurrency with Bitcoin and the relevant economic news. And if you were interested in taking your trading to the next level, we have a VIP sale on at the moment. You can click the pinned comment in the channel to find out more information. We post trading setups with exact entry prices, exact targets, exact stop losses, trade justification, exclusive analysis, and so much more. Again, you'll also get access to all of our group chats, our general chat, our trading chart and education chat, our daily video help, news, and trade setup chat. Check that out, guys. Contact me, join up nearly 700 members, and let's jump on in. So as we can see, over the past 24 hours, and as we were warning you in yesterday's video, we told you as Bitcoin was approaching this horizontal consolidation, as we were approaching October, we mentioned that we were seeing signs of exhaustion. We noticed that with the rising price action, we were seeing on the 4-hour chart, the RSI was decreasing. We identified a bearish divergence playing out, indicating we were seeing exhaustion developing on the price action. With that, we also discussed what would confirm the breakdown of this uptrend, and we noted that a loss of the RSI uptrend would signify that the developing exhaustion present in the momentum as a consequence of, again, rising price action and decreasing strength. If we were to see a breakdown of the uptrend, we would see a flip from exhaustion into a downtrend, indicating that momentum has officially flipped negative. And with negative momentum, we generally see price action follow suit, as the momentum indicator, such as the RSI, is a leading indicator for price action. With that negative momentum shift, we have since seen Bitcoin drop below the monthly uptrend starting off October to a pretty negative note. We are already in a short-term downtrend at the start of the month, eradicating this month-long uptrend. We are currently steeping into some horizontal supports, which we're going to be discussing today, and we're going to be more importantly talking about the points of which we could see reversals develop, and of course how potentially low Bitcoin could move if this downtrend were to continue into October. We'll also be taking a look at the macro charts, the macro channel, and of course everything else we need to know. So let's start on the market data. 24-hour volume is up 79% at 156 billion. 24-hour liquidations up 150% at 231 million. Of the 231 million in liquidations, 197 million have come from longs. That is a big number for a pretty insignificant pullback, and 33 million coming from shorts. If we take a look at the price action again, during this period, we were telling you this is not the place to enter late longs. In fact, this is where we were taking profit on our long positions. If we look at our long positions, we were taking positions of Bitcoin for altcoins at the start and mid-September. All these long positions taking massive profits on these. As you can see, if you are a VIP member, we were printing massive returns on altcoins, but we were telling you on this channel that we were exiting our longs here. We were taking profits on our longs because, again, most of the time, as we approach resistance, people get exceptionally bullish, and as we approach support where we entered our longs, people get exceptionally bearish. It is a good time to secure profits and put that money in your pocket, because at the end of the day, why are you trading? You're trading to make money. So if you're not taking profit, you're not paying yourself, there is absolutely no point in it being here. So let's go ahead, guys, and jump back to that data. Monthly returns for Bitcoin, we ended up closing the month of September at 7.35%, a green month. Historically, when we do close September green, we generally see October, November to December also green. Will this pattern continue? Hard to say, it is likely, but again, this isn't something we're going to be using as hard evidence to as why Bitcoin is going to be green in October, but it is something interesting to look at, and that is really all it is. It is just something interesting to look at. Correlation is not always causation. So moving over to the market data, DXY is hanging on by a thread over here at 100. We are still watching for a continuation lower, provided we sustain below this year-long uptrend. Again, if we drop below the 0.5 long support level, we will see a continuation lower. And that is still the expectation. We are looking for moves down to 96 to 95 over the coming 6 months. So it's going to take a while to play out, but we're looking over the next half a year, a correction lower. S&P 500 looking pretty good on the weekly again, provided we sustain above 5,600. We are expecting continuations into that $6,000 region. We would only expect a correction for the S&P if we were to drop underneath that weekly high. So the weekly high right over here at 5,680. If we were to close a weekly candle below that level, say this is the candle over here, we close the candle below, then we would expect a correction to the weekly lows. But if we do not do that, we expect corrections to 6,000. And that is it for the updates, guys. Let's go ahead and get into Bitcoin. We have a lot to talk about. Before we do, if you're interested in supporting the content, supporting me, supporting the channel, and even supporting yourself, sign up to BitGet, BitUnix, or BingX down below via the links in the description. You'll get a lifetime permanent 15% trading fee discount that can build up to 45% based on your trading volume. Go ahead and check it out. We'll play an ad and we'll jump back in. I'd like to introduce our partner, BitUnix. BitUnix is a global, non-KYC, no country restriction exchange, making it a perfect exchange to trade on if you're from the USA, from Canada, the Netherlands, or just prefer to trade without KYC. This exchange is a futures and spot exchange with over 200 different trading pairs and some of the lowest fees in the game. If you sign up with my link down below, you'll get access to 15% off your trading fees, as well as an exclusive reward center where you can claim up to a multitude in USDT prizes. So go ahead and sign up with my link down below for 15% off, and I'll see you in there. Okay guys, let's go ahead and get stuck back into it. So we're going to start on the most pressing matter, and that is going to be the breakdown of essentially a 30-day long uptrend, the uptrend that we established at the very early beginnings of September, which we retested mid-September, and we have now officially broken underneath, as well as a 50 EMA breakdown on September 30th, moving into the month of October. We're going to be discussing the potential maximum drawdowns this breakdown could facilitate, so the lowest possible price we see Bitcoin going as a consequence, and then the likely reversal points that are positioned higher than that price. So let's first talk about the worst case scenario. This is going to be worst case scenario. If we take a measured move, so range low to range high, so we take the lower trendline retest to the diagonal trendline retest at the top, we apply that to the breakdown point, that is going to signify we could see, worst case scenario, a correction sub our second retest, which is going to be 0.2. That would mark as a deviation before we see a continuation higher, facilitating a retest of the POC and dropping under the major $60,000 region. Now, I do not particularly believe this is going to happen. This is just what the charts are suggesting. They're saying that the worst case scenario, if we were to see a cataclysmic correction, we're going to see everything go worst case scenario. This is really the lowest point we will see Bitcoin go. And if we do see this occur, it is good to plan and prepare, because if we do see that occur, this would be a fantastic opportunity to enter new long positions of Bitcoin if we were to correct that low. That is going to be the lowest possible scenario we see Bitcoin going as a consequence of the breakdown of this structural formation. If we get that retest, if we get the deviation below that sell side liquidity, we would look to enter long positions from there. That is worst case scenario. Let's talk about the more likely scenarios. As we can see, Bitcoin has recently dropped below this major monthly uptrend. There is one very notable and very close support level we are watching for the reversals to develop from. This is going to be the strong low. You can see our strong low as a representation of this green line, but more importantly, this gray box that we were sustaining above for the course of around about a week. This area provided a degree of support. We had our equal and opposite resistance toward the upside before we eventually broke upwards and then saw that correction. So we are looking for a retracement initially back into this region as a minimum, meaning the short-term price action is sitting above here. We are expecting the short-term price action to actually come into this region at some point in the next 24 hours, potentially sooner, maybe later, but I would say on the sooner spectrum. We are looking for a move into this support level, and actually we are looking for a drop below this level temporarily to grab up all of this liquidity before we decide to then see a continuation. Or if we fail to sustain, we would see that extended correction we just discussed start to develop. That could potentially take us into the 200 moving average at 61,000. That could also potentially take us into our 60,000 psychological support as represented by this low right over here. So the few key levels we are watching. Bounce point number 1 is going to be our prior strong low at 62,000. Watch for deviation below. Wait for that deviation to then complete and the price action to break back above. That would be a significant indication that that level of support has sustained and we have flushed the liquidity, facilitating a continuation higher. If we do not see it play out like that, in fact, if we see the price action drop below and then retest this level of support as a resistance, for example, a drop and a retest and then a correction, that would be confirmation that we are going to see a correction extend into that $60,000 region. And again, if we reach that 60,000 region, we are looking for a flash wick into that low before we then see a strong continuation upwards for the remainder of 2024. So there are a lot of different possibilities over here that we need to be aware of. And again, like I say, when I trade, and like I always tell people, trading isn't a game of predicting. You don't have a crystal ball. You're not here to predict. What you're doing is you're analyzing the charts. You're using context. You're doing a contextual analysis of the economic environment, okay? And all of the possible potential movement possibilities for Bitcoin. I butchered that. All the possible ways Bitcoin could move based on your technical and your contextual analysis, and then you're talking about the possibilities and probabilities of those moves, and you're setting plans in case those levels are reached. And when those levels are reached, you execute the predetermined plan that you did actually premeditate moving into that possibility. So again, in a scenario, we are watching the price action here coming into our support levels. If we are able to sustain, we would open longs for continuations. If we do not, we know for retest, we would then open shorts for corrections. Into support, we are watching for that deviation before we then go very heavy into the market and then expecting continuations upwards. That is going to be a short-term price action, guys. Not too much more needs to be said. We really don't need to overcomplicate it any more than that. It is complicated enough. But the key things we need to be paying attention to is that momentum is now flipped negative. The price action has lost a 30-day long uptrend, and we are now starting a downtrend. The question is, are we going to see an extended downtrend? And we've talked about how that would happen. Or are we going to see a short downtrend to grab shorter time frame liquidity, this lower liquidity under our strong lows, and then continuation. Again, we've talked about how that could happen. So let's now extrapolate these two possibilities to a higher time frame. What would this look like on a higher time frame for Bitcoin? So first and foremost, we need to mark out our horizontal levels. We have got our strong low marked out at this region right over here. We're just going to go ahead and draw it in. I guess it's going to be a rough strong low, but we'll just draw it in anyway. That is going to be our strong low. And then we have got that base of support where we'd expect a liquidity grab to occur from if we were to retest. We also then got our 60K region, which is going to be as represented by the dotted trend line, which will go ahead and draw an orange line in. So as we can see, the possibilities for movements are going to be a deviation and then continuation up to range high. We would then see a correction into 60,000 and then a liquidity wick back into range high. Those are the two possible scenarios we are watching for. But again, nevertheless, this is not the place to be looking for late longs. As I've been saying in this region, we are looking to close out our longs and take profits. And when we clear this range high, that is going to be the next opportunity for new longs. So we wait for corrections into liquidity to new long, or we wait for breakouts of range highs for new longs. Now is the time to take profits and manage your risk on longs that you were meant to be taking if you did follow along at these lows at 49,000 and of course at our lows at 52,000. So taking a look at this price action, guys, Again, we are eventually expecting a continuation upwards, right? The measured move is going to be the distance or the width of the channel applied, or the depth of the channel, sorry, applied to the breakout expectation, which takes us into like 83, 84,000 on average, right? Depending on when we break out, it might be a little bit less, but about now, it is around 84,000. So again, for us to see that move upwards, we need to break a daily candle close above the range high. We have seen rejections every single time we've retested range highs. We have seen bounces every single time we have retested the range low. What we have not yet seen is a single daily candle in 5.5, now 6 months. We have not seen a single daily candle close above or below the range high or range low. Therefore, we are watching for that data point, as that data point will be an outlier, meaning it is something different to what we have seen in the past that could potentially indicate that we are going to go higher. The reason we are looking for that in a descending channel is because a descending channel, unlike a flag, doesn't necessarily have a set, or I would say common amount of retests on the range low or range high. When we look at flags, we look for around 2 to 3 retests on the lower upper side and 2 to 3 retests on the lower side. In this instance, we could have literally 7 retests and 8 retests on either side. It is irrelevant. The channel can potentially continue for a very long time. So in that instance, we're not looking for a count. We are looking for a data point, which is an outlier from the rest, to potentially signify, well, look, this is something different. This could lead to now a continuation. That applies to the support level as well as the resistance level. So the macro expectations are still bullish, but we are expecting the possibility now for a correction moving into that. If you are looking for safe entries, you know where they're going to be. They're going to be on the range lows, which you have tight invalidations, and the range highs, as you have strong continuation probability. That is going to be it for Bitcoin, guys. Let's jump over to a total. Again, the total market cap has not yet broken out. While the total is in this channel, cryptocurrency is in a downtrend. While the total is in this channel, cryptocurrency is in a downtrend. Again, it is a bullish downtrend. This is a bullish descending channel formation, meaning we expect a continuation. However, we are in a downtrend nevertheless. So until we break over that level, we can't technically say Bitcoin, or we can't technically say cryptocurrency on the macro is going to be in a uptrend. It's bullish, but it's not in an uptrend that makes sense. We're in a downward consolidation in a macro bullish trend. If we take a look at the macro charts, again, we are macro bullish. We are sitting above the Gaussian channel upper band. We are sitting above the leading span A, so the upper band of the Ichimoku cloud. On the 2-week, we are taking a look at that. We are sitting above the baseline of the Ichimoku cloud. All these macro indicators that suggest that the price action is in a macro uptrend are still holding. There are nothing here on the macro charts that is suggestive of the fact that we are in a macro downtrend, or even that we are going into a macro downtrend. Everything still is bullish. So the macro outlook is still bullish. The big question is, what is going to happen in October? Are we going to steep a little bit lower than expected, or are we going to just grab this upper liquidity and then move higher? Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll leave the video there. If you've got any questions, let me know down below. Have a fantastic day. Make sure to join up the VIP channel. It is literally the best. I will say it is the best channel you can join for cryptocurrency trading on the entire internet. In the world, I would even go ahead and say again. We post everything you need, trading setups, exact entries, targets, and stop losses. Everything you need to follow along is in here with a group chat with everything you need. Again, our profitability has been assessed. You can go ahead and check all of that out in the trading track record if you want to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and join up, guys. The sale lasts another 12 hours. Check it out, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.